and James, everyone. And it's my delight and honor to stand before you and preach from the Word of God. So this afternoon, can you turn with me the book of Numbers? Book of Numbers, chapter 13. And you can see in the projection that we have projected over here. Okay, the Lord said to Moses, "Send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving you to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders." Verse 3. So, at the Lord's command, Moses sent them out on the desert of Paran. Out of them were leaders of all the Israelites. Then you can see in the following verses and how many are from each tribe and who have gone to the land of Canaan. And we can see those accounts. Okay? And then so I like to read from verse. I will read from 25. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. 26. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. They reported them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses his account. We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit. But the people who live here are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak here. The Amalekites live in the Negev, and Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, "We should go up to and take possession of the land. We can certainly do it." But the men who had gone out with him said, "We can attack those people. They are stronger than we are." And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, "The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim here. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same today." Chapter 14. That night, all the people of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, "If only we had died in Egypt or in this desert. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" And they said to each other, "We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite assembly gathered here. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, He will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not be rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will swallow them up. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." Amen. We have read these long chapters, long passages, and if you read entire chapter 13 and 14, that you will see the details of the events, what had happened. Okay, you can see. But here, in this particular passage, when we see, when the Israelites were in the desert of Paran, that Moses sent, and God commanded, or God commissions Moses to send the representative of Israelites or representative of Israel to observe and explore the land of Canaan. So, the land which was promised to Abraham, that I will give this land or that land to your descendants. So now, God commands Moses to send his people to explore the land. Then Moses sends according to God's commandment. From his tribe, Moses sends his person, one leader from his tribe. And Moses tells them to bring all the findings. Moses tells them to bring both geographical and demographical information of the land. Okay? What kind of land is that? What kind of people are living over here? So God commanded Moses, and he does accordingly. And Moses sends, and finally they bring. And they are asked to bring the finding of every details of that land. And then after 40 days of their voyage or their journey to Canaan, they return with a cluster of grapes which was carried by 2 men. It means that it was huge. Even they brought different kinds of fruits, pomegranates and peach as well, along with grapes. They find the land which was flowing with milk and honey. They found that land was immensely beautiful and immensely wonderful, because that was the land that God had promised to give to his people. After their return, after their arrival, they report and they give report to Moses, Aaron, and the entire assembly of Israelites. And they give all the information, all the details of the land, what they saw and what they observed. Everything they tell to Moses, Aaron, and all the Israelites people. At the same time, they also demonstrate the fruits that they had brought. See, this is the fruit, or these are the fruits that we have brought. See how wonderful it is. They saw and they gave detail to Moses. And they said to Moses, they said to them, we went to the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is the fruit. Here is the fruit. Those spies, they demonstrate, they exhibit their fruit which they had brought, and which was wonderful. But there is the word but, however, there are drawbacks as well. There are drawbacks as well. The those drawbacks are people who live here are powerful, they are giants, they are humongous. And at the same time, the cities are fortified. Cities are fortified and very large. There are the drawbacks. They told 3 drawbacks. People are very large, they are giants, and cities are fortified. They are well secured. We cannot overcome, we cannot conquer that land. Really well secured. And there is that cities are very, very large, exceedingly large. Even they explain that, even they tell that, even we saw the descendants of Anak over here, descendants of Anak over here. And you can see verse 27 and 29. After their report, we can view, that we can see that now people, the entire assembly is being perplexed or being disturbed by their report. They were distraught. They were distraught. Even when they heard this kind of information or accounts, then they might have taken long breath. How we can take that land? It seems very dangerous. How we can take that land? It's fortified. People are very large, giants. We cannot conquer them. Or we cannot trying them. So that the thing is that there are two guys who are really courageous. They are Caleb and Joshua, and his name is also known as Hosea. Okay? And Caleb, he stands before the people, and then he silence. Please be quiet. Don't be afraid. Don't be terrified. And he says that not to be dismayed. Not to be dismayed or not to be perplexed. Rather, he encourages people to be courageous, to be strong. That we can take the land. In verse 30 we can see. But the men who had gone out with him said, the Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go up and take the possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. And he is using the word certainly. Certainly means surely we can do it. Do not be afraid, we can do it. Surely we can do it. 100%. Certainly means 100% we can do it. That he is encouraging and he is appealing to the people. In verse 32 to 33, when we see verses 31 to 33, then we can see kind of like people spreading bad news. And what they hadn't seen, that bad news is spreading over or spreading to the people. So in journalism, it's also called yellow journalism. Okay? Yellow journalism means it's not true. Okay? It's not true. And which is just invented or fabricated words, which are not true, but you just make yourself some information and you spread over it. So in verse 31 to 33, you can see kind of yellow journalism. Okay? Kind of the news or fabricated news that is being spread over people or spread among the people. And because their spies have given, like after hearing this bad news, people were dismayed. And they were terrified because they saw or they see their challenge from human perspective or human eyes. They saw their challenge which were before them from human perspective. And they saw that it's impossible to triumph. It's impossible to triumph over it. And in verse 14, then we can chapter 14, we can see that they grumble against God, grumble against Moses, Aaron, and Caleb, and Joshua as well. Because they saw that we cannot. And they question, why has the Lord brought us to this land to be killed by the sword? Why did God bring us here to be killed? And we had a very luxurious life. We had a very landslide in Egypt. Why did God bring us here to be killed by the sword of our enemies? Now they are questioning God and even his sovereignty as well. So when we see in these particular passages, there are two groups that we can see. The one who is Caleb and Joshua, and including there, like we can include there, Moses, Aaron. So they look or they see the challenge from God's side or God's perspective. It seems that like kind of mathematics in divisions, like we can see kind of they have become kind of lunatic to the people. In literary word that we can see that they are becoming kind of lunatic, kind of when we see in chapter 14, verse 10, but the whole assembly talked about stoning them. People wanted to kill them, or people wanted to stone them, because majority of the people were just spreading bad news, and because of that bad news, they had become kind of lunatic. एउटा नेपाली भन्नुभन्दा kind of पागल जस्तै किनभने if there are 100 people, if 1 or 2% say that this is true, then that 1 or 2% will be lunatic. Pagal will say the right weekend. So Caleb and Joshua, they have become a lunatic over here among the people. And another group, they are representative of 10 tribes. They see their problem from human eyes. They see their problem from human perspective, and they spread the bad news. And Israelites listen to these 10 people, and they rebel against God. They rebel against God. And we cannot do it. How we can overcome that problem, how we can overcome that challenge, because that is huge. That's impossible. So my dear friends, this afternoon I would like to encourage everyone, believe not fabricated news or false evidence. See the challenge from God's eyes. You can see here, believe not fabricated news or false ideology, or see the challenge from God's eyes. Many times we have that kind of notion, that kind of ideas or ideology that we believe that this is true, but sometimes that cannot be the truth. Sometimes we believe in the fabricated words or the false ideas. Even here, people of Israelites, they believe in the fabricated words, false ideas that was spread over them, spread among them. So my friends, our thoughts and plans are natural. Our thoughts and plans may be natural, but our God is supernatural, and our God can work supernaturally. So those who see the challenge from God's view, they trust in God. Those who see their challenge from God's perspective, God's eye, that they trust in God and surrender themselves to God, like Caleb and Joshua. However, those who see the challenge from human perspective do two things. Okay, that is M square. The first M is they maximize their problem and challenge. They maximize their problem and challenge. Maximize means you enlarge, which is tiny, but you enlarge. You may see very small, but this is huge. This is very big. They have enlarged. So my friends, do not enlarge your problem. Do not maximize your problem. Do not maximize your challenge. Trust in God. So, those who, here, when we see this passage, those who spread bad news, those who spread those fabricated words, they maximize the problem. They maximize their challenge. And they told that the land explored, devours. See what they have told? And see, they have told that the land will explode, devours those living in it. And the Syrian buildings devours means catching buildings. There is one more in Nepal, right? Catching buildings. Devours means they will just sow us, devours us. We saw, even they told that all the people there are very great. They are great in size. They are giant. They are huge. We cannot win them. We cannot get victory over them. And even they claim that we saw Nephilim. We can see in Genesis chapter 6 also Nephilim. I don't want to go through that historical account, or whether I will also not be talking about historical or this background of this. But Nephilim are giant. Okay? Nephilim are giant, and they just claim that we also saw Nephilim. Nephilim is giant. Again, they claim that we are seen like grasshoppers. Pretend others say we are like an insect before them. Nothing, just tiny thing. very small, we cannot do anything. So they just admitted, or they just admitted the false news, and they discourage people by telling false ideologies or false news. So the news which 10 representatives or 10 spies told was completely contrary to the report presented by Caleb, represented by Caleb. And Caleb had told in verse 33, Silence, we should go up and take possession of the land, or we can certainly do it. And he told them, we can certainly do it. We can do it. But here they have just made or invented their own words and just told that these people are very shy. And they, by giving false report, they maximize their problem. They maximize their challenge. Even many times we pay attention to our false ideologies, false views. So I cannot do it. So what he's saying is good. But the thing is that what I want to say is believe in God and believe in yourself, that we can do it. Caleb was telling, believe in God and believe in yourself, that you can overcome. You can do it. But they were being pessimistic. No, we cannot. They are becoming hopeless. So, and Caleb and Joshua, they were telling that the land is very good. Land is exceedingly good. Land is immensely good. We have to go over there. We can possess that land. Because Caleb, he strongly believed in God, at the same time, he strongly believed in himself. Because he was a man of Christ, we can say. Because of his courage, because of his word, and finally he reached in the land and he possessed the land. So even we may have that kind of ideas, that kind of notions that we cannot do it. It's religious. It's impossible for me. So if you have this kind of fabricated ideas or ideologies and notions, please eliminate. Pray to God. And pray to God or remove that kind of ideas that God will have each one of us. So believe in God and believe in yourself, not in false ideas. Even your friends may say, how you can do it? No, you cannot. So there are people who can discourage us. There are many people who can discourage us by studying here. What you will do? You may not get good job, good salaries, or so many other things. But the thing is that let's remove this kind of ideologies. Believe in God and believe in yourself. Because you can do it, or we can do it. So do not maximize your problem or challenge. And the second one is, do not minimize the power of God. Do not minimize the power of God. When we see chapter 14, verse 22 to 23, that we can see that people have minimized the power of God. They have seen God that who was doing very marvelous job, marvelous work, very mighty work that they had seen. And they have seen the Red Sea parting into two sides. Even they had seen that God doing marvelous deeds in Egypt, in open Egyptians. But here they are minimizing the power of God. Although they had seen that power, they had seen the power of God. Although they had seen God's grandeur, although they had seen the greatness of God, they were minimizing the power of God. Because God had parted Red Sea, and God provided food from heaven, and even God provided water from the rock, which was impossible. They had seen mighty work, but they were questioning to the sovereignty of God, or the power of God. And they say that we have seen Nephilims, we have seen the descendants of Anak, their child. So, my friends, let's not forget the marvelous deeds that God has done in our life. Because let's not suspect on the sovereignty of God, the power of God. And God is great God, that He can do it. So those who minimize, or those who maximize the problem, and those who minimize the power of God, they could not complete their journey. They could not complete their journey. They were struck down. They had to face the consequences. They had to face the consequences. And they were killed in that desert, in the wilderness, where those who believe in God, and those who trust in God, and those who look at their challenge from God's side or God's eye, they survived. Caleb and Joshua, they accomplished their journey. They accomplished their journey. But those who heed the words of those 10 representatives, including 10, they all were killed and died. So, dear my friends, today we are surrounded by a plethora of challenges. We may have different kinds of challenges. We may have several challenges today. Whether that is physical, mental, spiritual, whatever it may be, or even in like here in language, right? We are facing problem, right? That may be. But let's not maximize that challenge. I can't do it. Let's not be hopeless. Let's not minimize the power of God, because our God is a great God. He can do it. He can do it. So there are challenges that we can see, and we are being surrounded. But let's be hopeful. Let's be optimistic. Let's trust in God, and let's see our challenge from God's perspective. Let's not believe in fabricated words or false ideology or wrong beliefs. Let's remove that kind of bad ideologies. Rather, let's be optimistic. Let's be hopeful that our God is grateful, that He can help us, He can assist us, and He is there to help each one of us. So my friends, and we usually sing the song, right? You raise me up, and we can sing, you raise me up. When we are weak, when we are in worry, when we are in trouble, and our God is there to lift us. Our God is there to push us. But the thing is that see the challenge or problem from God's side. Although there are many challenges, see the challenges from God's side and move ahead. Aiming great, continuously acquiring knowledge, working hard, and persevering to achieve and accomplish in our life. So my friends, I'd like to encourage each one of us, let's not believe in false ideology. Rather, let's see the problem and challenges from God's side, God's eyes, God's perspective, and let's not maximize our problem, and at the same time, let's not minimize the power of God. Our God is really great God, and let's trust in Him. Let's be hopeful, and let's be optimistic, and let's work hard, and let's aim the great. Work hard. Let's continue to acquire our knowledge, that we may grow in His word, in His knowledge, and we may enhance ourselves and accomplish our goal, because our God will help us to accomplish the goal that we have set. So, my friends, be hopeful and optimistic. May God bless each one of us. Jealousy.